All right, cool. We are live here. I'm trying a little something different today where I'm going to have a guest on here in a second. And I'm just going to go to my channel right now and make sure that we are fully live. But I was talking with one of my, I guess, I don't want to say followers because I consider him a friend. Uh, I His name is Joel, and he's been following me from the very start. And I live in Nashville, and Joel lives in Tucson, Arizona. And we've gotten to meet before, and we stayed in touch. And Joel, he I guess is in a similar situation as me, kind of starting new phase of his life as an adult, wanting to explore music and dealing with the struggles of self confidence, dealing with money, dealing with, can I do this? Can I start over again? Am I any good? How do I make things happen? Um, and I've taken a little bit of a sabbatical from online life to let my head clear, to focus on some other things, to focus on, I guess, writing some more music, to focus on resetting and to drown out the clutter. Um, and I'm still really conflicted about all of this because I'm really fulfilled and motivated by what I'm doing musically right now, and I have some really good opportunities, but I'm in a deep struggle as well. I'm trying to really, I want to say reinvent myself, but shift my focus and find new avenues of fulfillment and where I can express myself as a musician and artist, and I can also have enough money to purchase food because that's always a real struggle here. And I'm kind of at a point of some serious resistance. I made a video about this earlier this week, and this is really just an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for me to try out some new things. And it's scary. I could continue playing a bunch of just jobs, just work cover gigs. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, I feel when I do too many of those, though, that my energy gets really drained. Like, for example, I've stopped live streaming my gigs because it's really like I'm doing three jobs at once. And it's exhausting before, during, and after. And I'm a little bit burnt out, and I need to find a way to monetize what I'm doing a little bit more because I'm losing a lot of money on YouTube, and I'm not complaining at all about it. Um, I am just I want to make sure that my levels are good here. Yeah, we're good. But I am so the time I spend on YouTube takes a lot of time. The money I spend on hard drive and equipment takes a lot. The money I spend on data for streaming when I'm mobile takes a lot. And it takes a lot of my energy too. And, it's been a pretty rough year. Uh, but Joel, if you want to come on right now, hop on and we can chat because Joel said, "Hey, man, I think I could have some things I could bounce off of you." So let me, yeah, why don't I ask you a few questions? So Joel, if you're there, why don't you hop on here and let's chat. So again, Joel is in Tucson, Arizona. He's been following me from like the very start when I had less than 100 followers, and I have a little bit more than 100 right now. But Joel's been with me for a while. So, Joel, if you know how to get on, I want you to hop on right now because I can't carry this whole thing by myself. Um, so, Joel and I are going to talk for about 20 minutes, and he's going to bounce some ideas off of me. Because, I don't know if I said this, but it's like, so wait, it's June 4th right now. My rent was due on June 1st, but I can pay it on June 5th without getting late fees. And I have about $70 to my name right now. And so I need to come up with, you know, quite a big chunk of change in 24 hours. And I'm worried about that, but worrying about it's not going to change anything. So I am being proactive right now. And Joel, if you are there, you can sign on here, buddy. or maybe you are signed on and I'm just totally missing it. Um, but Joel, if you're there, just give me a thumbs up in the chat. So Joel and I are going to discuss how I'm not going to get evicted, how I'm going to keep playing music for a living, how I'm going to keep up with YouTube. Because it feels like I'm falling behind on everything and I'm not doing anything well. And I'm not saying this to pile on to myself. I'm saying this to normalize that a lot of people feel this way. And I'm also telling myself, well, fretting about these things isn't going to change anything. We need to take action. And so that's what I've been doing. And I'm also realizing that taking action every day is not going to immediately solve it, which is going to be totally fine by me. Well, not totally fine by me, but it's realistic. Uh, so Mojo, if you're here, can you tell me if you're hearing me, or if Joel is on, or what's going on? Because I'm just looking at my iPad screen right now. I'm not seeing much. So maybe I can just flip it to my front facing screen. Give me a second here, folks. And there we go. All right, cool. So, Joel, if you are there, now is the time when I would love for you to come on. It says wait for hosts. Geez, Joel's around. Okay, let's see what we got. So you're seeing some. Hmm. So right now I'm trying to get Joel on. No, we do not want green screens. Oh wait, yeah, we want to add Joel. And there we go, Joel. Give me 1 second so I can get rid of this green screen. Holy shit, this is weird. Joel, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you, bud.
Yeah, good to see you
Um,
too, Joel.
yeah, hey, no, thanks for having me on, man. What's funny, you see me in this shirt, and when you saw me a year ago, I was wearing the same dang shirt, and I just happened to wear it today. I swear to God.
I mean, no, I have like 5 shirts I wear just because I don't feel like buying any more shirts.
Yeah,
And
that's how I am. Yeah.
I mean, I wear this shirt all the time because I've had it for like 10, 20 years because it is just like the perfect shirt. It fits nice. It's thin for when it's hot. Um, so, Joel, what did you want to chat about, man? Like, bounce some things off me. You're the host now.
Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, I want to say hi. I see Mojo's in the chat, and shout out to him and Brad and all your followers, and thanks for doing your channel. Gee, I didn't have like a scripted interview. I guess for me, and again, I'm in a similar journey, but not as invested, I would say, as you are in it, in the fact that that's how you're feeding yourself. But it's like I was gonna be like, okay, what are you doing? As far as I know, you're doing Lower Broadway, right? You're doing those gigs. Are you doing those every day?
I've made a conscious decision is not to do Broadway as much. I'm doing Broadway as a way to make money.
Yeah.
But if I'm making money on Broadway, a lot of my energy, my motivation just, gets kind of sapped and I get sucked into there. Um, and it's not always the most fulfilling thing to me. And for me, it feels kind of like, again, I'm not saying this is true for all of Broadway or everyone down there, but for me, it feels like a hamster wheel. And I feel that I have to bet on myself and build some things on my own.
I understand.
I really want to
You've
write
got
my own future of, oh, hey, the bar closed down or there weren't
no,
as many.
no, no. I totally understand, and I'm sorry if I'm cutting you off, but I do understand it in watching your videos and having interacted with you. I understand that it
Mhm.
can become a hamster wheel. A lot of guys can get stuck down there or whatnot. But I'm just trying to get an idea from what I understand from your videos is you do the Lower Broadway thing, especially to keep the lights on, and then you're actively trying to probably develop yourself creatively. Playing guitar, writing songs. I know that you have opportunities sometimes to maybe do. collaborative work, like with that couple that lives in your building
Mhm.
that that helps save your cat and whatnot. And then and and again, I'm not a music professional, but I watch the videos and whatnot. And obviously in Nashville, I guess studio time is another place that you can do things. So I'm just trying to brainstorm with that with you, knowing that there are different streams and that and you're wanting to brand that and not just get stuck in Lower Broadway. So I'm just trying to get an idea, I guess, financially and where you're going, like, because it's frustrating, right? Because it's not like your YouTube channel. What I hear you saying is the YouTube channel is a lot of work and it doesn't necessarily pay off monetarily. Obviously, that's not why you're doing it, but at some level, that's a reality.
So here's where I'm at. I want to try to make an analogy. Let's So I think a lot of times when people are playing on Lower Broadway, or way I see it is, I've made a conscious decision that I want to be aaronapter. I don't want to be a drummer. Okay. I want people to hire me because they are going to get with me what they're not going to get anywhere else. Um, I'm going to play different and I have a different skill set. I can do the session stuff, right? I can do the touring gig stuff. And, I've thought about maybe pursuing some touring gigs. And there's a lot of dues you have to pay for that. Like, a lot of, like, you're going to have to play a lot of thankless gigs. You're going to have to spend a lot of time on the road. Um, and you're going to really have to network your way in a very intentional way. And I definitely could do that. But I asked myself, is this my dream gig? And what my dream gig really is, I don't know if this sounds conceited or narcissistic or just delusional, but I want to make a living being me, being a one of one. And why I don't want to do like the skilled tradesman, just a hired gun stuff, even though that's the way I make most of my money, is I want to express myself somehow. I want to create stuff. I want to that's my main thing, creation and expression. But also, when you're a side musician, um a lot of your income, a lot of your stability is very unpredictable and it's out of your hands. Like, I could be working with an artist and we have a bunch of dates booked, and all of a sudden that artist has someone in the family die and they want to take like 6 months off. Um, or that artist says, I don't want to play music anymore. Or maybe the artist just says, I don't want you in my band anymore. And that happens overnight. And then you're like, okay, what now? Um, Same with playing on Broadway. It's very much like there you're at the whims and mercies of the tips of the tourists. If the club wants to rent out their space, and there's a saying in music that everyone gets fired, every gig ends. And I understand that and I accept that. And what I want to do is I'm trying to add a few layers of insulation against that. So a few layers where I am making the income myself, I am controlling it. And that takes a lot of building time and a lot of effort. And I'm currently building out those systems right now. And it's 90 days to build what some of the things I'm building to make some money and for them to start, and then probably another 90 days for them to start earning some money. So I just kind of need to keep having money coming in, but while also
You're trying to do a business endeavor. I mean, most of the time that you need capital kind of to get you started, to get you off the ground. And you're in a situation where it's like you're trying to balance both of those things.
this isn't an excuse. This is just an acknowledgement of the limitations I have. Is that I'm a musician. I'm an artist. I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. That is, and there's nothing wrong with those things, and I'm not against learning them. But that is not my natural skill set, and something I've had to work very hard on.
Important to have enough self-reflection to understand these are my strengths and this is what I'm willing to put my time into. And on some other YouTube channels that I see, that are generally kind of similar thing where guys are sharing their life as a musician. These guys like love video editing. It's like they just get off on it. You know what I mean? And it's a ton of work. And if you really like it, that's great. But not, I would guess most. And I hear you saying that you're like, yeah, I can do it, but that's not my strength. So then the rub becomes, okay, these are my strengths, and here's maybe what I have to do for a while. I know you said in your last video, you maybe you're looking for a video editor. I know Mojo's helped you with that, and I'm sorry, I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, but you like you've talked about this a lot, Aaron, on your channel. Um, I have a situation where I have some rentals and I have this passive income and I have time to say this is what I want to do. I'm going to practice my jazz standards and I'm going to play a couple gigs a month, and you don't necessarily have that. And so that would be ideal, right? If somebody was like, you know, you had this thing and then you could focus. The other thing that you've talked about, and I forget the gentleman's name, but you did an interview with a producer, and and you say it all the time, no plan B. It's like, and I remember him saying, it's like, he's like, if I had to live under a bridge, I was going to live under a bridge. And so that's an option too. And I know those are the areas. So I was just trying to get, I would trying to get to the nitty gritty of your direction. Um, and the other element that's a part of it that that you know you could say, well, it doesn't have to do with music. It's just, and that's my struggle, my current struggle is the emotional factor of grinding at it by myself day after day. And I know you're not completely alone, but your channel provides community for all of that. So those are some of the things I don't know, I wanted to mention.
Let's talk about passive income. Let's talk about living under bridges, no plan Bs. Um, and I'm always interested in what works for other people. And what works for some people may be the absolute experiences, hearing what paths people took to get to where they're going is helpful. And we're all built differently emotionally. And I've always been like, yeah, fuck it. I'll live under, pardon my French, I will live under a bridge if I have to. And now I'm at an age where uh, it's not that I'm too good for that. I am not too good for anything, but I also realize that that will work against my interests. Living in chaos, living in constant financial panic and fear, it stifles my creativity. Um, it ups my stress. It makes me more reactive. You know, I'm living in constant fear, and I want to get some passive income. Now, with passive income, you probably need some capital to build that out, right? And so I don't quite have the capital for that right now. And that's an obstacle. So I'm like, well, what are the solutions I can do around that? And that's why I've been doing, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, we can do YouTube. And, you know, I have an audience. Perhaps I can find a sponsor. Perhaps I can find an advertiser. Perhaps I can crowdsource it. You know, maybe I can have some of my audience, maybe they can actually connect me with an advertiser. I also I've thought about doing like a Patreon, um, where like so with that couple I write with, the Young Fables. I have a couple songs I've written with them, and I thought about maybe like starting maybe a Patreon. Or I thought maybe like just shooting one pilot episode of this is one song from start to finish. If you would like to see more of these, you know, we need to, in order to fund these videos, it needs to make this X amount of fundraising goals, or we're looking for a sponsor. But I think something where I'm writing a song from start to finish and people see all the process, and then people see like the demo recordings and get to hear that. I think that could be interesting, and that's a good idea. That will take some time, though. Um,
Hear you. I mean,
I've I've thought of, and I'm going to resume on Mr. Jellybeans, the Tiny Tennessee Terror on Instagram, and I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to design some shirts for him, and which I know, like the previous shirts, I was like they were okay, but I didn't design them. I think I know what I want this time around. I'm going to put some time into that, and he has about 20,000. followers, you know?
You'd be like, you're popular, you're paying the bill. And then, yeah, listen, I mean, I I don't know. Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with this, right? I'm saying what I want. I don't want to do go with my tail tucked between my legs, give a boo-hoo, like GoFundMe. I don't want to take anybody's money if I haven't like if it's not worth it to them. And I'm trying to create value for people and I'm trying to tell people, "Hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And if you like this kind of stuff, it's not like I'm not going to do it unless you pay me money. It is all right, let's find a way where I can keep on doing this stuff and do more of it um, and provide people what they need. I would like to do that in a way that's free for people, which is why I like to find an advertiser. Um,
let me interject here, Aaron. And I'm just gonna try to be unfiltered. I don't have it all together, so I'm an outward processor. So I get, as stuff comes out, it comes out. It's not like it's all together. Yeah, right. So here's the thing. What I feel like you're doing is like we're gonna curate the mirror so you can see what we're doing. We're gonna show you what we're doing all along the way. And what may be suffering is the actual substance of who and what you are because you're so damn spending so much time showing what's going on because it's cool. Like that's what we love. We love to be involved in it. And that's why, and obviously you don't have the luxury of, well, okay, now I'm just gonna like for me, and I'm gonna share my story is that it's a very and you and I've talked about it's a very slow road. I started with two jazz standards, and 2 years later, I got 50 that I sing, and they're sitting behind this phone right now on sheet music. So I'm not memorized. I've got some of them memorized, and I've been working through a sight reading. This is my goal. This is what I want to do. And I posted a few videos back in the day. I've gotten a little better since then, but I was like, oh hell no, I don't have time for this. And so what I would trying to point out for you, there's a value in your transparency and bringing people along the road. And just as realistically goes, like for example, Tim Aben, he plays with a country like a mid-grade country band, and he went like this to 12,000 subs. And you've been grinding your ass off for 2 years or however long, and you got 3,500. And that's just the nature of the beast, is that a lot of people have a leg up just because of the exposure of who they're involved with. When someone like you has been doing a shit ton of work over time and is providing a lot more value in ways. But you too, well, we won't say it, but the powers that be don't want truth. They don't necessarily like authenticity, but that's a value that you have, and you're like, I'm not going to change this, but there are consequences for that. So that's in the midst. And so my question to you would be, okay, forget YouTube, Patreon, GoFundMe, because what are your real passions? I believe that you obviously have a passion for music and artistic expression. And you know, if you had to, would you be grinding the drums and learning different genres, which you probably already have under your belt quite a bit. And obviously you're saying you want to work on songwriting and those things. It's just that I think providing the content can sometimes subvert the process and throw out the substance.
Focusing so much on the sizzle that the steak is subpar. Um,
And again, these are things that I'm just thinking. So it's not necessarily like this is a statement of fact. That's why I would reflection back. But um, you may have shot your load, brother.
what do you mean by that?
What is you've you've said a lot, and you might be repeating yourself at this point. That doesn't mean they're okay. Let's just say you're repeating yourself at this point. It's like if someone comes to your channel, like from an alien planet, like you have a message, and you can go from start to finish, and it's all there. And it may have. it may have run its course. Just like sometimes in business, you're like, hey, yeah, we did this for X number of years and we kind of ran to the end of it. I'm not saying that's what it is. I don't want you to go away, of course, right? But you see the fatigue, right? I mean, it ain't easy. Pay for data, set up a stage cam, another cam, deal with the sound guy, deal with songs maybe you haven't played, play from play a 10 to 2 shift on a Friday night, pack up your crap, go home. And you probably still don't have a car. So I mean, it's hard, my friend. It's hard. And I'm not saying, oh, just give it up. So when you in this last month and what you're going through, I understand. And all of us want you to continue in perpetuity, but it's an unrealistic expectation.
Find out a way to pivot, and the way to pivot and not keep doing the same thing over and over again. And that's one of the reasons why I've stopped streaming on Broadway, just because it's like, and maybe this is me projecting my own taste onto other people, but I'm like, this is boring. Like, I do this every day, and there are 1,000 videos like this I put up about. But maybe that's what people want to see. I don't know, but my interest, like,
Keep cutting you off. And I'll let you talk, but the other thing that, and maybe you can come back to it, but I just want to remind you in there is that, yeah, you're talking about the live streams, and as a person who's seen your channel for a while now and has interacted with you, like that's the other thing is they say what are working, and I know that's what you're asking, and you're telling me how difficult it is to do the live streams, and it seems boring. I mean, I have those same kind of thoughts. So yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off there.
so I'm more interested in talking about my journey, talking about what this channel really is about cutting out the bullshit. It is about, okay, I'm not going to, and it's really hard to do, but I don't want to try to present myself as somebody that I'm not. I want to be as honest and open as possible and not make this like a commercial for myself. Um, and like, that's one thing I really value is authenticity and what I really want to do, and showing people that, hey, we all struggle and that this shit ain't easy. There is no one direct answer except you just got to keep on plugging away. And I think it's really important to show my struggles, not as a way to
Understand that. I think that's very rare in today's day and age, and I think we know, especially as someone who's a subscriber and a viewer, that's a high value. And one of the things that lately, so this is what I found myself doing, and I'll just give you this as a reflection of a small window into what it's like for me as as a YouTube addict since my divorce. Um, your live stream stopped, and I look at like NBA live streams and whatnot. These guys who are talking about LeBron James and all this stuff. And these guys are doing lives. I mean, these guys are doing lives and they're getting on there and talking about real stuff and about music and stuff. So like even if I you and me were doing a live stream and I'd be like, hey, this is what I'm working on, this song. Or did you hear about what's going on with I don't know. I don't know these people. I'm just Cardi B or whatever. I don't know who the hell she is, but you know what I mean? Like, and so let's start mixing it up and let's start talking about those things. And what I've experienced is for me, because we live in such a disconnected age, I look around and people all living in their little houses, they're separated, they're driving. Everywhere that where there's going to be public interaction, you have to spend money. It's Target, it's Walmart, it's Starbucks. Okay. There's no public space. This is the public space. So what they're doing, and what I found myself is when your lives went away in this last month and a half, as a like a YouTube addict, I'm like, oh, these guys are doing a live stream. So I go on there and then I get on the chat a little bit, and it's providing a community for me. And then you get recognition or validation, and people are very generous. So one gentleman's like, hey, call in, and I was like, what the hell? And I called in just like you do today. Like this is a real thing. And so like sharing what maybe getting into more detail, or just or just cutting it up. It's not like we have to be, the Today Show or something. It's just like, well, what the heck are you doing today? Like today, what are my latest songs? I'm working on Days of Wine and Roses, and so I don't know. There's some feedback I wanted to give you, as a person who has experienced your channel and some other ways. So then what they do is they're pushing a lot of these guys, and you know this, Aaron, but they're not pushing us there. They're like, hey, become member. I've got members only stuff. Well, that requires a lot more content. And you and I, we just jumped on this live stream. It takes some work on your end, but not anywhere near the amount of work it takes for you to make a long form video or to do an interview and schedule that. And those things can happen here and there. But maybe that's where it's at. And I hear you about the live streams. Like, this is boring. I do it all the time, and there aren't a ton of viewers, and it's probably not bringing you a lot of revenue. So, anyways, those are some of my other thoughts that I want to throw at you. And
Producing an this is totally crazy off the cuff, but an hour-long show once a week, like an act, and just pivoting to that and working with a producer and working on perhaps like doing like bringing on a team. I don't know. I've really, but at the end of the day, I think what do I want to do is like I want to create music and I want to live as myself and help other people. And I don't want to chase algorithms. I don't want to chase YouTube subscribers. I would ultimately like to make my own platform because let's say YouTube just all of a sudden starts saying, all right, we're going to start rewarding people who do the membership stuff or who start selling our products online and we're going to throttle other people's streams, or other people's videos. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying I have no control. I don't own my audience. I don't have the emails. I don't have a direct way to. So
I see. So you get 1 year in, 2 years in, 3 years in, and the floor falls out, and you're like, where's my where's my quote unquote customer base, my exposure, my audience. And so that's a
on overnight, and I can't get it back.
well, and then you lost 20 videos on your hard drive. I mean, I'm not super tech savvy, and so that's a tough thing too. But here's the thing. I mean, as a solution, I think this live thing, and it doesn't have to be streaming your gigs with Nichols or with any of these other guys. I love watching it. And there was a period of time where it was super intriguing, and at some level, yeah, it becomes more rote because now I've been exposed to it. And so every once in a blue moon. But what I'm watching these NBA guys do, or these guys who talk about NBA, a number of them are African American, and some of them aren't, is they're collaborating. And this is the work, Aaron. This is the work. You set up a stream, you say, hey, Bo, set up a stream. This is what I'm going to talk about. And then they'll go on in there and they'll pop on a video from YouTube. Shoot, they were watching the TNT overtime lives of the game, and the one guy got a strike from it. But they just sit and they hash it out. Like, for example, like it would be like, hey, like like for me, I love Tom Waits. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, hey, do you like Tom Waits? I'd be like, Tom Waits is trash. I'd be like, what you talking about? And we can talk about that. You know what I mean? And people love that. I love that. And then you watch down here.
Top five, seriously, didn't know that.
Yeah, well, in the Christian bubble, so coming into college and stuff, I started exposing myself to different music, and along the way, I had, listened to Dylan, but I love Tom Waits. So, there's a you know
Shit.
but some people don't like it. They're like, oh my God, listen to his voice. Can you believe it? And I'm like, yeah, but, but this stuff is good. So yeah, I mean, so we could sit there and talk about it. I mean, I
Do a tie-in. Like Tom Waits is one of my heroes because I love his music, but he's like, this is who I am. This is my get down. I'm going to be a little bit strange, a little bit different. And that's who I am. I'm not going to try to cut off little pieces of myself to fit into these boxes of the industry or what people want. I'm just going to be me. And if you like, and I'm not going to alter that. And I think that's what I want to do. Like I could put my energies into working with like finding some music tech companies and partnering with them, and like I could focus on.
Yeah. And it's necessary, but that's not what you're here for. Like you gave up a physical therapy career. You're like, screw that. I'm going for this.
Weird as shit. I'm working on lots of tunes right now. I'm working on a solo album. It's and I'm trying to like kind of document this whole metamorphosis or change from sideman playing on Broadway to what this guy is playing guitar. He's writing stuff now. He is doing weird art. What? Um, and I just want to find a way to express myself, and I just want to find a place where I fit in.
Want to know too. And I think if I could say so, I understand it. It seems for you it's hard. I mean, that's why you talk about it so much. It is hard to offer that side of you. In fact, what I'm getting from you, and this is just honest feedback, okay? So, but what I'm getting from you is more like for a lot of times it's safer to talk about being authentic than it is to be authentic. Like I want to know about like I don't care. I don't care if you like Justin Bieber. I don't care. Like I want to know about who you are or something that excites you. And um anyways,
I was journaling today. I'm like, listen, for the next 3 days, all I'm going to do is focus on music. I'm not going to really have time to practice or anything, or focus on money. And this is not my 24/7, but this is okay. Let's do this now. And what I went
I hear that because yeah, you gotta yeah, what a you know, I don't know what stage you are at in your guitar playing. You're definitely not a shredder like I'm not a shredder, but I'm giving you a hard time. You know what I mean? I'm not good. I'm learning, but it's a lifelong process, right? And songwriting and all that. And so it's entirely realistic for you said you're going to focus the next 3 days on making money. That's what you said. Yeah, you and I maybe you go get a job at Starbucks. I don't know, but that's okay in this stage. You're like, oh, I can't do that. But yeah, I hear you, man, and that's a compromise that you have to make at this point, understanding that you have a goal down the road. Um, I'm just saying, yeah, the YouTube thing can be almost like a burden on you. That's what it sounds like it is. So I would want to, my recommendation, and I'm sorry, man, but I'm running you over. My recommendation is like do the lives, like do something that requires the minimal amount of work, not minimal, but as much as you can handle, and pursue those other things. Maybe you have to get a part-time job doing something that's not music, you know?
I'm like, have you worked at Starbucks? And like, let's look at the hourly pay of Starbucks. Let's look at like my what my income needs are. And if I worked at Starbucks, again, I'm not beneath anything, but financially, that would be a step backwards. I make more money playing music than I could at Starbucks, and that's it's just. And if you worked 40 hours a week at Starbucks, you still couldn't make rent. That's the reality of today's. And I'm not complaining. I'm saying that's where it's at, and me complaining about that won't change anything. And I firmly believe that I can write my own future, that we can write our own futures we just have to like, I am all about not like one day I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it. I am like, one day is today for me. I'm not gonna say one day, I'm like, no, why don't I just do it now? Let's figure it out. And
Of it because money is a big deal. I mean, and so
I think that should come with the territory. I think there's a lot of money you can make in music. Money's just always going to different places. And my values are such that I know I could get a job on a cruise ship and make a lot of money. I did that before and I was miserable. Um, I could do cover bands all day long. There's nothing wrong with that. I could make six figures a year doing that, and I would be miserable. I could do corporate gigs, and that's just like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I've reached a point where I'm like, I want to go for it. I want to, and like, if I can get past these next 2 months, I have some things that I'm developing right now that will help ultimately start supporting me through passive income. Through like getting some songs licensed, getting some songs published. Uh, there's a few other things, but like, I want to be in control of my fate, and I don't want to. Someone's always going to pull the rug out from you somehow, somewhere. I just want to have protections against that. And right now, I just want protections. I just want food in my belly. That's, I mean, that's the honest truth. Um, and I've been super proud that I've not done any like, I paid all my bills playing music. I've just had I and I didn't buy a car. I'm still cars because I'm like, oh, I have some major dental work that needs done. I could buy a car. Or I was like, I can always get another car, but I should take care of my health now.
and you're not healthy, nothing's happening. A lot of somebody told me the other day, they're like in relationship to my family. It's like if the father's not healthy and sane, then everything falls. Like you as a parent to your kids, if you're not healthy and sane, everything it's all for naught. So yes, so you have those priorities. I guess it's just trying to practically say, okay, where are you? Because you're in a spot where you're trying to untether yourself. You threw yourself into like say the lower Broadway scene doing cover gigs. I know I've seen a couple turn and burn videos, and when you went down to Georgia and you've gone to Memphis, and those are and I've also seen other guys talk about touring. It ain't romantic like they say, bro. Like even people who you know it's just like to me, it's just like painting. Like if I go to paint the outside of the house or the inside of the house, and my ex-wife used to be like, "Well, why aren't you painting it?" Well, it's like 80% prep. In fact, the paint is the easiest part, putting the paint on the wall. And everybody goes, "Well, that's what painters do." No, that's like a very small percentage. So yeah, I agree. I hear you on that. And so trying to for you to do what you're doing. It sounds like you got some things in the fire. I'll just tell you from my perspective. I mean, and it sounds like Nashville's it'll spit you up and chew you up and spit you out. It's hard to get in on that whole songwriting thing. When I went through there a couple of years ago, I went to Fifth and Lindsley, Fourth and Lindsley. Apparently they moved, but Third and Lindsley, whatever it is. And I was like, oh, this is cool, right? And then I was like, oh my God, these poor guys. These dudes have been doing this how long? Where they come and they tell the story of the song they wrote and they perform it, and it's cool, and that's part of their gig. The gentleman, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but he wrote Parachute. I think he wrote Parachute for Chris Stapleton. Yeah, and he was there and he told the entire story of it, and then he performed it. He's shoot, he could have been in his 50s. He's a real nice gentleman, real down to earth guys. But I realized walking out of there, and there were some young gals and some people who were up and coming, but this is a this could be rough, man. And so for you trying to break into that kind of thing, it can be rough and it's an uphill. It's worth doing, right?
And anytime somebody says they want to be a musician or songwriter, I try to discourage them from it. Not because I don't want them to do it, because I think the only way you can ultimately make it, or I think, maybe that's myopic, but For me, like it has to be like I have to do this. It's like, okay, it might be rough, it might be impossible, but I would rather try and fail at doing this than do something else and be miserable. Like this is who I am. I like, and some people like working day jobs and they don't have the pressure. I just want to be creating, and I don't care about the struggle. Like the struggle's like, all right, it's going to be a struggle, and there's certain struggles I'm not willing to do anymore just because it's not conducive to a long-term career. But like this is something I have to do, and
Level. It sounds like you're trying to create space in your life and you have some space. Are you making good use of it? Like, let's say this afternoon, like you're going to play, a 4 hour shift down on Broadway or whatever. You got 2 or 3 hours in between. And I'm reflecting part of this is because it's a thing that I find is that like this afternoon, like right here, when you called, I got my guitar right here. But as much as I'm committed and passionate to it, I'll get like my time that this is my time to work on it. And there's like an emotional hole, and I often don't follow through because like I feel like I'm the only one committed to this. Like, so part of the story is having people alongside of you that are helping you carry that out because you could be Clint Eastwood and do it all yourself, you know what I mean? But when it's just you and your guitar and your room, I don't know, it's just the emotional factor that factors in it. That's why I would ask you how for you is it going?
I love playing guitar. I am fulfilled by it. I love writing songs. I love playing drums. I can't play drums right now because I have an apartment and I don't have a car to get to a rehearsal space. So like that's another thing, and I wildly miss that. But I'm like, okay, let's just make it happen, man. Like this is what it takes. You can't be playing drums. Play some guitar. Like work on other things, and then try to build some um, income streams that uh, that you can be getting paid money while you're sleeping. That stuff. So
Like for me, I come from construction and I can go sell, not sell my body, but you know what I mean? Sell my body, sell my physical labor and my time for an hourly wage. And and that's it. That's the investment. And on some level, playing as a sideman, actually playing as a sideman and playing guitar even, I realize is very similar. It's a very it's a labor job. And so obviously, yeah, having other things that can now be working in and of themselves, kind of like if you put your money in the stock market, it's making a certain percentage on a daily basis. Those are definitely things. And to how to get there, what I was referring to for myself, and you're a big part of this, Aaron. Like the fact that I'm getting to talk to you today, just like I'm like, this is exciting. Like somebody is talking to me about what I want to do, and we can encourage one another. And I'm part of another group online, and it's my lifeline to be able to talk to these men and hear where they're going through. So I'm just recognizing, Aaron. I understand, and I know it's not like you're over there without friends. You know what I mean? But it's a lonely fucking world. You know?
that's why I do this. Not because I want all the attention, or not because I'm trying to be an influencer, but because it's the same reason why I play music. Is when I was a child, um, I just remember music was like my friend, my companion, and it's not like I was lonely, but it kept me company, and it opened up my mind and wonderment, and it was just a gift, and it made me feel understood and not so alone. And when so I try to make videos that maybe it can like, and that's one of the reasons why I talk about like a lot of the struggles. Not because I'm trying to get attention, but because I want to show people, listen, I'm out here doing it. I'm out here making a living. Some months I'm making $10,000. Some months I'm making zero. Um, It's up and down, it's scary, but I'm out here doing it. I'm unsure just like you. I have doubts just like you. I struggle just like you. And to normalize this, that it's not an easy process. And when I was younger and playing, I didn't realize all the emotional and mental health thing, like mental health like requirements needed to survive this industry. A lot of people can get in here and be a little bit like, have some issues, and maybe they can last for a certain period, but those issues eat them up and eat their career up. And I'm trying to like go in here, do it healthily for myself, but I also want to like I talk about these things, these rough parts, to get let other people know it's okay for this shit to be rough. It's okay to have self-doubt. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to think that you're not good. Um it
I mean, just for me, it's a constant encouragement for me. It's like, you know what? I don't care. And I've had to find in the last 2 years to find what I thought I was and to be okay what I found out I was, which was, I'm not the guitar savant. I can sing, I can play. I have a few different things that I add in there. So yeah, I mean, it's important, the emotional element. And like, what about, on a practical level? I mean, are you living downtown? Does it cost more to live downtown? You're closer, right? So that is a factor.
pass because I can walk to gigs.
Yeah, because you don't maybe pursue, and I know you probably would like this to happen, but maybe someone owns a house and you get a car and you can share and have roommates and shit. I got a drum set right here. It's a PDP drum set I've had because my son plays drums. It has mesh heads on it. I've even watched videos on guys who isolated their drum sets in their little apartment so that they could play it, and they played the mesh heads and all that. You know what I mean?
I'm here today. There's all these things I could have done in the past, all the things I could do in the future. What am I going to do today? And what am I going to do today? And then also, what am I going to do today that is going to be for the future? What's some long term investment? And that includes, oh, hello. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, we have a little guest. Yeah, cats always instantly bring up the YouTube score. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking about what I want. Yeah, I'm thinking there's a lot of things going on. And so one thing I have to do is like I have to wrap it up because I have to get going soon. And the one thing I want to wrap it up on is that a lot of things in the music industry and life don't have like these convenient bookmarks. So you're like, all right, I did this and now I need to figure out something else. And just finding, a good entry and exit points, and when to leave and when to start a project, and when to like right now I'm at a pivot point. I need to pivot what I'm doing, and I'm going to do that. I'm just trying to figure that out. And am I scared? Yeah. Am I panicked? No, not yet. Am I invigorated? Yeah. Like all right, we're gonna roll up our sleeves, we're gonna figure this out, and this is going to be I don't know if I can pull this one off. Let's do it. And for all the things about music, like again, music is a tough job, but why I know I'm in the right place with music, because like I don't have to think about, oh, I should be doing this. I want to do this. Like I this is all I want to do. I can do so many different things. I go back to physical therapy. I can work in video now if I want to. I can work in tech. I just want to make some tunes. And I keep on telling myself I have all these skills. I can do lots of things. This is not a talent show. This is a marathon, meaning that I need to have endurance, but I also need to be intentional with my pacing. Um, so
Keep it up, and with whatever we can do, we're so glad to be part of it. I'm glad to be part of it. It encourages me, and so I understand, man.
if you noticed, but you've been an integral part of my kind of reinvention or reacclimation to the music world, and it's been really great to have someone along for the ride. And I know we like to talk about how terrible the internet is, and it can be a terrible place, but it's also a place where um, it's a tool and we can connect with and inspire people. And I really like to thank you for the inspiration and support. Yeah, and being like Mojo and I were just talking today about some big plans. They're like, "Ah, we should get Joel involved with this."
Oh man, those guys work so damn hard, just like you do. I'm like, I mean, Mojo, what are you doing with this 5 hour video stream? I'm sorry, I'll watch a little bit of it. I mean, it's just going on and on. These guys are working their arses off. It is a marathon. You're doing the same thing.
And so, but like, if I don't even know if Mojo is still here, but my friend Joe, which he calls himself Mojo, he thinks that this dude like knows so many things. He has two kids. He takes care of his parents. He does landscaping at their house. He plays like these 12-hour gigs, and he thinks he's lazy. But I think a lot of times we are our own worst critics. So I'm just putting that out there. And
And then we got to go. There's a guy in Australia I talked to, and he goes, "Yeah, I've been there and done that, Joel. Like he played guitar, he has perfect pitch and all this. But he told me, he goes, Joel, in the end, there was no money in it, and that's fine. You know what I mean? And he had to shift to other things, and but it can be true, but it's worth it, isn't it? It's exciting. I mean, it's worth it. And you see, you're grinding, and even if there doesn't end up being money in it, as long as you're living, as long as you're alive, you know.
and I'm like, all right, I just got to get through like about 90 days. I might have to white knuckle it, but I am never like I'm miserable. I love what I do. I just need to do it, and I'm going to do that. Um, so I'm going to sign off, Joel. I want you to think that last thing I told you about Mojo, how we laugh about how he thinks he's lazy. Think about that for yourself. Think about one of the criticisms you have about yourselves, and really unpack that. And I think sometimes if you look at it objectively, you can find that that's not true at all. Um, so yeah, I see you, dude. You're a G. Thanks much. Thanks for watching. Be kind to your friends, be kind to your neighbors, be kind to yourself. That goes for you, Joel. All right. All right, man. Have a good day.